Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome. We market, SpartanTrading.com. Next couple days, going to be wild and woolly. We got the FOMC. If they do the 25 basis points as built in, we know that Powell is going to be jabberwocking on the hawkish side, but nobody cares anymore. He is becoming more and more meaningless. All these Fed heads, I mean, just ridiculous. Everybody's looking at the data and they've got some serious problems here. I mean, they really do. I mean, this is far from over in terms of what's going to happen here. Let's see what happened overnight. Hickson, manufacturing PMI out of China. There was a 13G on Baidu, and that's why it's up. This is why you just don't know with some of these things what's going to happen. I happen to be in equity. I was in options, but because the time function, I went to equity. So that's a nice little pop for me, obviously. All it's doing is bringing you back to where it was. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if we can get going right now. You know, look, for me, it's the weekly charts, right? Weekly, monthly, 10 EMA, 50 EMA. More on the weekly right now than the monthly, but on the commodity side, it's monthly. But we're going to talk about that. That's today's class is going to be on commodities and why it's important for FOMC. Okay, so what else we got? Indonesia inflation rate, lower. Tourist arrivals, nice pop there. So they're feeling it, looking good, feeling good. Global PM manufacturing PMI, Indonesia 51, better as, right? India, their manufacturing PMI was a little bit softer, right? UK, a little better, right? EA is the final as expected, no changes there, a little bit better out of Germany, right? EA unemployment rate, okay, so it's ticked up a little bit. Inflation rate year over year was down, notable, right? Month over month flash, down more than expected, positive, right? Core inflation down more than expected, positive, right? CPI flash, a little bit better than expected. Boom, the auction, 2.27, a little bit higher than last month's auction. And we have the 3 and 6 month out of the EU. Obviously, you can see higher, and then this is higher as well by almost 0.25%. That's a lot, right? Brazil, PPI. Well, that's interesting. Look at how that's coming down, right? So why is this important? Well, I'll discuss it more in class because I don't want to bury the lead here, right? All right, mortgage backs. This is still, the applications is really important, right? So there's that. EDP, right? 815 coming out. We do have non-farm payrolls, right? So that's going to rock and roll as well, right? So we'll see about that hourly earnings, right? We saw coming out and was as expected. So let's see if that continues, some of this data, right? This is the labor costs, right? Quarter over quarter is on Thursday. So we'll continue to keep an eye on Fed interest rate decision at 2, ding, 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 ding. Kind of meaningless at this point, unless it's not 25 basis point. It's this walk on the wild side. You know, let's see what Powell does, putting his foot in his mouth. Right? Okay, and we do have the ISM. This is going to be interesting. See if this comes in a little bit better, and obviously the jolt's coming out as well. Okay. All right, what do we got? It's Wednesday. But boom, 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 boom. Humana, nice. Thermo Fisher, yada, GlaxoSmithKline, and then Meta. Started Fang, Meta, Amazon, Alphabet, Apple. Oh my goodness gracious. Because of the decline in the prices on a lot of these names, it's actually not that expensive to pay late earnings, you know, on some of these names. Would I do it? Probably not. I'm entrenched. I am entrenched in hedging. All right, here we go. All the way around. We got some This is really fascinating. So we're getting some guidance. So this is the one that I was at Peloton guided higher slob. This is interesting. Silicon Laboratories, keep an eye on that one. Humana guided higher, right? Dynatrace. But something that kind of got me interesting was Brinker, right? And that's why this we were discussing this. If you're in the long-term channel, you know that I had some plays on in that sector, and they're both doing very well. Well, one's doing much better than the other one, but it should start to pick up. I mean, anyways. So we shall see how that plays out in about. Okay. Altria did come out a little better than expected on the actual estimate, a little bit softer, right? So Thermo Fisher, I like to watch this one. Both of this is one of my favorites, but I haven't touched it in a long time. Well, because of COVID and stuff. All right, let's see what we got going on here. All right, my friend, let's see. This is our data fund. Consumer Confidence Index contributions, right? Future employment. This is future income. This is future business. And this is present employment. So as a percentage, just so you know. That's what it looks like. I can't make that up. Chicago PMI, to be honest with you, I don't care. The market is expecting the U.S. Treasury to exhaust its funds by early August. A cautionary tale to our friends in Congress. The optics are horrific if you don't do something. I'm just telling you. We've been down this path for those of you who are old enough. This is not the first time. But I can tell you this, the political optics, if you're a politician, pretty negative when people don't start getting money. Hate stuff. Okay, and anyways. Sovereign CDS spread, whoa. Okay, didn't expect that. All right, so this was scenarios, right? This is yesterday. That's that spreadsheet he did. Okay, what do we got? That's not what I want. This is what I want. UK shop price inflation trends for food and non-food. Okay, I don't know about you. Cost of heat, even though prices have come down, I haven't seen it on natty gas yet. Electricity, they doubled it because it's stupid in my state, because they wanted to help out the electric grid. Anyways, but I mean, just going to the grocery store, for those of you who go to the grocery store and notice these things, it's just crazy. All I have to say. Convergence between VIX and macro VIX. Okay, so this is really fascinating. All right, so this is notable and it is important. Okay, so this is the spread, right? We have to keep an eye on this one, right? Because something's brewing. I can't explain it to you. I just know it to be true, right? And this kind of shows it as well. So this is fascinating. So consumers in distress. Okay, if you don't think they're in distress, and I don't, whatever. I don't want to talk about it. This is just facts. Late fees are going up. Charge-offs are going up. Bankruptcies are going up, right? This is kind of neutral eviction right now. And here we have foreclosure, kind of neutral. But all of them are in the, not blue, they're in the beige orange, okay? And you see here, September, everybody felt good. And then not so good, still feeling okay. And then all of a sudden, no. Look, people are going to, if you're on a fixed income, you're in trouble. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you're on a fixed income, you are in trouble. And, this is not a function of, oh my goodness, bringing hands. This is factual. Equal weight consumer discretionary versus consumer staples. So we know that something's going on here, right? This is a spread, right? So discretionary is going up above staples, which is fascinating. And actually, Sentiment does have an article on that right now. I've always respected fearless writers grounded in fact and intensity. Discovering the truth can surprisingly be scary, especially when you are swimming against the current. It takes courage to be different. And you know I'm as different as it gets. Just saying. You got to own it, strut it, do it, have confidence in yourself. Just do it. That's what we do here. Just do it. What's the news on Amazon? This is my catch-up trade is Amazon. Ignited. Okay. Oh, you mean the bounce off the low? I don't know. Anyways. So anyways, what do we got going on here? The United States beef cow herd has dropped to its lowest levels since 1962. Beef cow. Did you hear also in Norway they had a case of mad cow in Norway? If you don't know what mad cow is, look, I want to be succinct. God made Google for a reason. A lot of people are lazy. I find it amazing that I can Google something and find something that it's from years ago, decades ago. You live in wondrous times. Use the technology. That's all I have to say for dinosaurs like myself who grew up with a black and white TV and were in only three stations on the television. Hello. I just think, embrace the difference. Cattle producers will not make meaningful progress in rebuilding the U.S. till 2025. This is a big deal. This is how commodity super cycles find their way, right? So a lot of the herd had to be culled because of the drought, right? You can't water them, right? And don't forget where the drought still continues to be sticky is where the cattle is, okay? A lot of the cattle. I don't know what's going to happen here. Hundreds times, right? U.S. corporate debt default rate to accelerate to near 6% by year end from 2%. The worst case scenario is 17.7%. Get used to the word liquidity. This is a young whippersnapper. He's like 28, something like that. Obviously British. All right, Fed funds activity is rising. Oh, this is interesting. Fed funds market was the highest since 2016. Pretty cool. All right, so there was a lot of dog pool money that went through. This was a billion, right? City. So almost $1 billion went through in dog pool money. There was also an unusual SPY dog pool too. Central banks have tightened policy aggressive to rein in inflation. ECB, Bank of England, Uzies and Macy's. Let's see what we got. Altria, what do we got? Amazon, all eyes on us. We know AWS, whatever. Housing Republicans introduced bill to reschedule marijuana as a Schedule 3 substance. Okay. Federal Reserve poised for 25 basis points. Yeah, we know. UK government outlines plan to regulate cryptocurrency. They're the top 500 stocks that led the rally in January. How can I not be? Well, I mean, this should not be surprising to anybody. Okay, so Tesla, just WBD, WDC, NVIDIA, Carnival. Anyways, moving on. All right, ADP, yada, 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 yada. Worker pay gains cooled at the end of last year. So this is important. Okay, so that's the narrative. And South Beach was talking about one of the dudes on, or Twins was talking about, I don't know, someone was talking about it. This is an important thing because of the stickiness of the wages. Okay, and if we do see, we'll see what happens. Okay, just so you know. Right, so this is going to be important. In some ways, I think this hourly wages is going to be probably more important right now. So if this continues to come down and in, right? See, I don't see a recession. I don't know why. Look, it should have happened. ADP employment change actual 106. Wow, versus 180. Okay, that's a lot lower than expected. $106 versus 131. Some people are saying 180. I don't know what they're getting there. Wow, look at the drop on that, guys. But we know before it can be a fool's game with that, right? Bonds are ticking up a little bit. Market selling off a little bit. Okay, all right, cool beans. All right, so what do we got? Oh, hold on a minute, we're not done here. Ukraine, it's ratcheting up pressure on West. You know what? Come on. This is stupid shit. Look, this is nation building 101. Do you really? Look, Germany's delusional if you really think that they're going to stop at Ukraine. They got their eyes set on Poland next. This is nation building 101. This is Cold War 101. Intel CEO is taking a pay cut as a chip. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, so how much are you getting paid? By 25%. Yeah, how much are you making for a disaster? Right? Still bet it's 6 figures, right? Hit cutting back 15%, 5%. Yeah. How a tiny bank called Moonstone got tangled up in FTX. I don't care. Did you see that MSGM? I scalped a little bit of it pre-market because why wouldn't I? Right. So anyways, it did get down to the bottom kelp, so I might grab it a little bit, but it's really not an A+ setup right now, but I was scalping it. 3 Indiana cities led the Wall Street Journal Emerging Housing Markets Index in the fourth quarter. That's interesting, right? Iran's deadly street protests are replaced by quiet acts of rebellion. Okay, okay. All right, so let's see what happened yesterday. All my troubles, top 100, building, yada, yada, yada. Solar, I mentioned that one. I still like solar. FYI. I'm just shouting it out. I still like solar. I'm in Sag and Phase, and I'm also in Tan. Just saying. I'm up over 10% on this Sag, but I think, all right. What was nothing? Oh, auto, foreign, beverages, right? That's it. A little bit. Asia and drugs, medical generics. Nikkei, Asia. Let's see what's going on here, Donnie. What a shit show. India pumps up infrastructure spending in last fall pre-election budget. Okay, NATO chief says China has no justification for Taiwan. That's whatever. China stocks draw record foreign buying and reopening rally. Ta-da! This is easy to read this stuff. Jack Ma's movements in Hong Kong penny stock soaring. World crude steel output sees first decline in 7 years. This is important. Okay. If they're going to shrink, so it's supply and demand, right? This is right. So this is how you offset stuff, right? Supply and demand. You basically cut by supply. Demand stays the same or will increase, and we know it's going to increase in terms of all this infrastructure stuff that has to happen, right? Hong Kong economy shrinks 3.5% in 2022 on COVID. The COVID has peaked. Obviously, the deaths in China. Look, if this president here in the United States is willing, I think it's April or May, done with it's the flu. It's the strain of the flu. Just deal with it. You have to deal with it. Now, unfortunately, someone like myself who's a long hauler, it's not a pleasant experience, but what are you going to do? It looks like Brady has retired. The GOAT. I don't know why he came back. Anyways, hundreds of Afghans risk 11-country trek to get to the United States. I wouldn't come here, friends. I would go up to Canada. Oh, Canada. I'm telling you right now. End of easy cash here is going to hurt. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, this has been going on since 2008, and I keep saying it. Nobody, I mean, this is the problem we have. How does that address itself? I have no idea. All right, let's talk about after hours, what happened. We saw a lot of QQQ put sweeps. I kept mentioning this was 1.6 million, right? Further out, this is for February, end of February. All right, here's February, beginning of February. This came in after hours. A small amount, but this QQQ this week 293s at the money hedging coming in. I mean, all over the place, right? 63% bullish in terms of volume, right? Calls versus puts. We're getting there, friends. We have to be a little bit, you know what? Let's take a peek. Let's take a walk on the wild side here. Let's see. It's not going to populate. Never mind. All right, insider buys. So we got some funky stuff going on, right? But, you know, some of these things, $100 million, right? You know, can't talk about it. I mean, it's hard to talk about. I mean, because you get a lot of, you know, directors, 10% owners doing stuff right now, right? We had a lot of, you continue to see this, a lot of selling due to options, right? Stock options. Emir price, basically this was tied to options. This was tied to options, this Tesla, right? Senior vice president just paid himself a 1.949 million. God bless, he owns 64,000 shares. God bless, God bless, God bless, right? It is February 1st. Happy February 1st. Ruby got some insider buying, right? So that gets a little bit perky today. Yeah, I don't know. We shall see. Let me see. I got some Ruby on in one of my accounts. I don't know which one. Anyways, we can move on. All right, inside buys, upgrades, downgrades. Let's make sure this is up to date now. See who's been plopping out there. All right, first, Primus Financial, Piper Sandler, 18%. Casey is a 79%. I think that's a studette because normally you don't have your middle name in there like that. So I think Casey's a woman. Hub, MGA, Magnet International, and you can see a less worthiness, but you know, Foot Locker, KNOP, WTFC. So some of the financials, TransUnion. This NeoGenomics is kind of interesting, but it's only a 49% person, so can't get too excited about that. Here we go. Snap, Snap got a downgrade. It's right where we're at right now. Wow, this is really something. ETRN, Natty, right? All these are pretty studly. AMD. Okay, cool. From overweight to equal, right? Oh, fine. I'm sorry. From buy to a hold. Okay, cool. It just goes to show not all semis are the same. But even so, General Mills, this was an initiation, right? I mean, nothing interesting there. All right, let's take a peek. All right, so the largest increase in short interest are in these names: ATNF, SLNO, CALA, NEPT. Keep an eye on these CEI for potential short squeezies. Most shorted continues to be Jaguar, right? CETX, PBLA. So this is the name of the game, Carvana. Good short interest. That's, you know, anyways. I'm in Carvana still. Looking well for me. You know what I mean? What can I tell you? Oh my God. Roger. Well, we are in a bull market in a short time frame. Yeah, I mean, he's shouting it out now at the top. Wow, how brave. Investors have moved from wants from needs, right? We talked about this, the consumer discretionary staple. Okay, this is what they're looking at right now. All right. So what does this mean? All right. Sudden return to riskier sectors, right? Okay. What does it mean to the S&P after discretionary staples ratio goes up like that? Not as you would expect. Okay. 3 months out, it's 50-50 almost. Okay. So this actually is kind of meaningless. 12 months out is more meaningful. Okay. 83% of the time, 18%. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, statistically, we can do so much better just on an individual stock in one day than this can give us, you know, but it's nice to see. Okay. Right. All right. Let's take a peek here. what does this mean? Okay, energy down, utilities down, wheats are down, defensive stocks are down, right? And 3 months out, you can see this staples, a sea of red for the most part. Materials is still up, financials are still up, defensive stock, but then you have a shift back to small caps. All right, so we have to keep an eye on what's going on there. Okay, growth stocks, you can see that there. Okay, all right, what do we got? All right, so we've got it's a little bit of an extension here. You can see here it's all getting rosy, right? I want to look at the other stuff here. Let's look at this one. All right, let's take a look. So we went from green. Now we're back to red. So we have to have a reset. I mean, these are really lofty. And it won't, all it takes is one down date for this to to come back in. Okay. All right, let's take a look. All right, and you know what? COT, let's see. All right, so here's the added gas. So this is really interesting. I wanted to see what the hell's going on here. Okay. Managed money actually increased their longs and their shorts. Okay, but the shorts still, and you can see here that's 60%. Now, other reportables are really fascinating. This is, probably, hedge funds, stuff like that, 78% short. Uses and Macy's, 34%, 65% long. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's look at, I want to look at crude also to see what's going on there. Just so you know. So this is week to week, right? So you can see here, these are naturally short, right? Managed money is 85% long. Okay. Other reportables, usually the Macy's is long. Oi! I didn't expect that. All right, let's take a look at the bonds. What do we got going on? Yield curve is inverting. 2 year. And then you see 5, 10, 30 out, right? This is why it's really hard to be in the short, the front end of this. Okay, but anyways, Canada, Canada. Only one up is Germany. Everybody else is down, 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 down. And you can see here we're starting to break below. We're right on this, right here, right now. This 2.5. So this is a bear flag, should continue down. Here's the 210. Really interesting. Look, this is really interesting. See if we break down. Here's the 530, just doing nothing. And you can see here, here's the 10-year. All right. So basically, this is pretty much negated. We've got a triple bottom here. This is the weekly. We'll see how this plays out. I don't know. I mean, I literally don't know. Can't tell you. All right, so the interest rates, they're in the upper quadrant right now in China. Look, this is what this is foreign direct investments. I've mentioned this multiple times now. You have to keep your currency strong, and the way you keep your currency strong is by your interest rates being stably at a higher level, right? Don't forget we were down here, now we're up here. Okay, just saying. Germany, nothing. Mid, literally smack dab in the middle. Dollar, nothing. Like I say, when you look at a commodity, and obviously currencies are a commodity, okay? When you get these multi-week sideways consolidation, multi-month, the moves become momentum-based and you have to pay attention to it. So nothing there right now. So in this large quadrant with the Chinese new one, nobody cares. Here we go. Yeah, nobody cares. I don't care. Gold. All right, gold's up. I just am absolutely positively stunned by the strength of gold. But, it's kind of like crude, right? You know that it's got a bid in it, mainly because someone's a buyer down below, right? And it's pretty good size, right? So we know that, right? So what do we got here? We've got probably 50-50, actually. Orange juice. Wow, what a pop on that. Lumber continues to go up. That's notable, right? We got to keep an eye on that as well, right? Okay. DBA, agricultural, I'm still in the upper quadrant. Well, it's actually, still in the upper quadrant. I'm waiting for a break of that double top to add. Look, like I say, I can wait months, okay? Literally months before I do anything on a commodity trade. And I'll discuss that. Yep, goat, we're good. Are you sure? Sale, salsa, are you sure? Came back last time. Are you sure? He's the GOAT. I mean, what can you tell? I mean, and I grew up watching, well, in my 20s, I was watching like Montana and stuff like that. Those guys were pretty good. And, Dallas, there's so many good, anyways, Broadway Joe, DBC, still fine. Had a gas. Okay, so once again, guys, you notice that declining volume and the velocity is also, let's see, like I say, Boyle holding this extension still. Right? Crude natty gas. I didn't expect this. I mean, this is it right here. I can't, literally, let's go back monthly on this one. So, okay, so. But this was, this would be 2012. All right, let's take it one step at a time. So here, right? This is heady stuff. We haven't seen anything like this, well, since March 2022. And then here, this was 2020. Hey. All right, so let's look at a couple things here. Suncor holding up fine. Weekly uptrend. There's a monthly uptrend. Canadian Natural Resources. This is a triangle, right? Still holding above it, right? This is a measurable, actually, if you want to look at it as well. All right, so Kate's asking about some of these sweeps on the puts and stuff like that. You don't know. All you know is, if it's anytime, look, my rule of thumb is when you're looking at some of this stuff, Kate, okay, and we'll talk about it in class today, is that the more you pay, the more hedge, right? If you're willing to pay up like that, right? That means your underlying is in the money and doing its thing. All right, so I bought down here. I sold a little bit here, but we're kind of in the mid right now, in between. I think these royalties that we're taking to the woodshed can have a nice little bounce, and you can, they're basically continuing to hold key pivots here. ENB and Bridge. I like the stock, but I missed on the downside here. So one thing about this stuff, funds, just so you know, okay. Twins, I would agree with you. To be honest with you, I think the hourly wages is more important. The unemployment actually is more important than the Fed right now. Nobody gives a shit about what Powell says. Nobody gives a shit about what these Feds peeps say. Right? I think it's all about data right now, and screw the Fed. All right, so anyways, Enbridge, I missed it. So, okay, and I'll go over the details when you're trading commodities, what are the things you do and you do not do. The Southwestern Energy is kind of interesting to me. Why a pivot here, 50%? I'm just keeping an eye on it. I don't have anything on it right now, just so you know, but I'm watching it. See if I see some money coming into it. All right. So here's oil, US oil, all right, XLE. Here we have OIH, and here we have XOP. Okay, see what's going on there. So we've seen that divergence, right, with the energy names versus the underlying physical, right? Crude, Lord, what can I tell you? Just sticky. We're range bound, and everybody's long it. I'm thinking about maybe putting some SEO on it. I don't know yet. I'm just gonna gold crude. Pulling back off that double top. Let's see, it's still holding up okay though, gold. OIH, still fine. This is the weekly. You can see this uptrend line, right? See if you can pop the top. Don't forget, well, that's for class, right? OIH, XLE. OIH continues to outperform XLE. This is actually pretty important. So, oil exploration. So, Schlumberger, Halliburton, stuff like that. Oxy, pinned back below that. I'm not kind of happy with that right now, to be honest with you, but, we'll see. I grabbed some down here, so I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I'm not sure yet. Not quite sure yet on how that feels for me. Some of these baby bios are getting bought up this morning, right? Just so you know. That was mentioned before. Still is the same. Okay. All right. Yeah. Schlumberger, broke, false breakout, notable, benign, right? But it's still holding up fine. I mean seriously. Still holding up fine. PBR, Petrobras. I nailed the low here. I mean, I literally nailed the low up to 61.8%. This is why fibs matter. In, you know, for me in my life, fibs matter. Gold. I mean, here we are. This is shocking, actually. That's a little bit scary for me, because to be honest with you, I may put a hedge on. Because the first off, this is a 78.6% fib. Look, when you get it down here, there's double bottom here. I mean, and you go like this in a matter of a couple months, right? It's pretty cool. So I'm going to put some hedges on for the FOMC, I think. I don't know yet. We'll see. Okay. Anyways. XLU utilities. Keep an eye on this. It's at the mid. Knee. This is what I like to trade. This really got yanked down. I haven't done anything because I'm really not going to do anything unless it gets down to 70. Okay. So here's SO. Here's Duke. Everything kind of looking the same, but you know, nothing horrific here. Here's Sandstorm. I literally missed this low. So it's just GOLD. So these are the individual miners and stuff like that, right? So
all right, Beth, ready to pop on here.
okay.
Alrighty, guys, let me just pop the screen share up here. Okay, right into it. There we go. All right, so if you guys are new to the chat, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. You're gonna pop in the chat. It's gonna look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in. Click on that disclaimer section, give it a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section. If you give it a read from the top to bottom, that's what you want to do. But start here, disclaimer section, then you have this risk reward. Super important to understand what risk reward is, guys, before you actually start trading, in my opinion. So I definitely would go through this little area here. Continue to scroll down. You have summary of how this chat works, breaks down all the channels work on the left-hand side, so you can probably navigate the chat throughout the day. That's important to know where you're looking. Continue to scroll down. We have how to read alerts on the option equity side, but pretty straightforward there. I understand what we're saying. Options rules I like to use for myself Monday to Thursday. SPX rules that I like to use for myself every single day. So if you're curious on that, give it a read. Continue to scroll down. Any with the small account less 10K. Now that's just my opinion. This is just what I was doing when I used to grow with smaller accounts or smaller accounts. Some information there. Discipline could help you. So give that a look. And then how to pick ideas from an options or active perspective. All right, three market tickers I'll watch, guys. What do we got going on today? Tesla, Baidu, EA, MTCH, MSGM, and EDBL. By the way, welcome to the YouTube stream, guys, if you are watching that YouTube stream today. Tesla gapping up continuation of the market. Baidu, BlackRock increased passive stake to 6.6% from 3.5%, gapping up pretty good. There was some Baidu sweeps on it yesterday. Pretty interesting. EA gapping down on earnings, lower guidance, and Match gapping down, misses by 33 cents on EPS, reports revs in line, guides Q1 revs below consensus, guides fiscal 2023 revs in line, gapping down. MSGM, huge gap up today, gapping up in continuation from last day's move, and then EDBL gapping up at 60 with the MSGM. That is a recent reverse split as well, that EDBL, and it is got a low flow. All right, let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two we're going to be looking at, the guys, Tesla, Baidu. I don't know why I keep getting these stupid Tesla misprint candles every single day after we close, but it really makes it hard to look at this chart. But that's okay. It is what it is. All right, let's get the another support level here. 50 MA. There. All right, we're good. All right, so Tesla pivot to the upside today, in my opinion, guys, is going to be this level right here. 170.64. That level is able to break. Move towards 174.84, 180.24, 186.23. Unable to hold 163.28, 156.55 would be the downside supports, in my opinion. Overall, I'm going to be leaning bullish neutral, in my opinion, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point is able to hold up. Filled the gap yesterday. It's in grind mode to the upside. Obviously we got FOMC today, so we'll see what happens in that regard. But I do like the chart. From a technical standpoint, I'm leaning bullish on it, looking for continuation push higher. Let's take a look at this Baidu. Nice gap up. All right. There we go. Pivot to the upside today on Baidu, 144.98, in my opinion. Level holds 146.88, 89, sorry, to 148.80. Unable to hold 142.50 or 142.45, 138.88. You're breaking the range on the daily to the upside, so it does have room for continuation, in my opinion there. Obviously, this little increase in stake by BlackRock. It's got some room for a continued push. And we'll see what happens in that regard. But it is set up on a daily for continuation. And again, we just got to continue to remind ourselves FOMC today in the afternoon. So, we'll have our direction in the morning. We'll trade the morning, and then we'll see how we set up into the afternoon. Simply put, that's Tesla, that's Baidu. Let's take a look at the next two guys. We got EA and MTCH. All right, guys, EA, let's have a look. EA got hammered here. 113 a share is low. Okay, that should be fine. Let's take a look at the single trade here. So you're breaking range supports on the daily to the downside. The obviously all EMA supports broken. You're bear flying now. That a little uptrend's broken, which was around 120. Pivot to the downside today, in my opinion, 116.21. This level was able to be held. 119.43 to 122.19 will be tested. Unable to hold 113.99 to 111.69 on the downside will be tested. Overall on EA, I'm leaning bearish, looking for a continuation pull to the downside today, guys, if that pivot point is unable to hold. That's EA. Let's take a look at the match. I want to wait. I don't know why I'm so high. Get it lower. Of course, I have it. At 47.74 levels low. Okay, that's good. All right, pivot to the downside today, 49.53 levels able to hold. 51.68, 54.24. Unable to hold 47.18 to 44.79 on the downside. Overall on MTCH, maybe leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold. That's EA, that's MTCH. All right, let's take a look at the next two guys, MSGM and Ed Bull. EDBL, what a freaking move on this thing, eh? All right, let's go take a look at what we got on the daily, my friends. Obviously, reverse split name if you guys are unaware. So I got a big push on this thing overnight. Floats like 400,000 shares. I have to go intraday for some levels here. Okay, probably could lower that to no, let's leave it there. All right, let's take a look at the signature day here. MSGM. Pivot to the upside today, 69.02 levels able to hold 78.65 in my opinion to 89 or sorry 90.30. Unable to hold, I'll be looking for at 60.58, 250, 225 in my opinion on the downside. Overall on MSGM, going to be leaning bearish, looking for a continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold. It's up a crap load. You know, we'll see how it acts this morning. If it holds up, pushes, of course, you can go higher. Can't. I think you're going to come in a little bit. See what happens though. I know they need to raise cash. We'll just see if they pin it today in order to do an offering. If they don't, then you know might have another day in it. Pivot should give you your direction there pretty simply. I'd say with this EDBL intraday. Not gonna be able to see the upper end level. That's okay. 1504 pivot levels able to hold. You get rid of 1710. Unable to hold 1278. 1030 on the downside. Overall on EDBL, going to be leaning bullish only if you can break and hold above 1504 this morning. If you can't, then of course they ain't going anywhere. That's EDBL. That is MSGM. Maybe just screenshot these and let's move on to the next. AKA the Spine Fang, which will be very interesting to see what our levels are today. Once again, we do have FOMC, my friends. All right. Market. Let's see. I'm going to throw up the daily here. Obviously flagging on the hourly there. Daily chart looks decent for continuation. Got that big resistance levels above 110 area. All right, so pivot to the upside today is going to be 405.62 in my opinion. Level holds 407.59, 410.95 will be the next resistance I'm looking above that. Unable to hold 403.16, 398.42 on the downside. I am leaning on the bullish neutral side today into the FOMC. I think we can grind a little bit higher. We'll see what happens in that regard, and then of course, whatever happens with the Fed, and we'll see what that price action looks like. Market in general looks very bullish from a technical standpoint. It still has its uptrend intact, that downtrend breaks intact. Everything looks pretty damn good, but today is going to be our confirmation, I guess, on the actual longer term, medium term move. But right now at the gate into FOMC, I'm leaning bullish neutral. Watch that pivot point. If it gets reclaimed, you see more of a push. Unable to hold, of course, to see some profit taking, right? Apple flagging on the hourly. Pivot to the upside today is going to be this level right here. In my opinion, 144.88. Levels able to hold 146.47, 147.37. Unable to hold 142.46. 141.10 downside, leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point is able to hold. Apple. Let's take a look at Amazon. $104.21 pivot, levels able to hold. You got room towards 108.49, 110.26. Unable to hold 194.97.03 on the downside. Overall on Amazon, I'm leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to hold. Netflix. Okay. So Netflix guys, trying to curl up off the EMA support on the daily. Did test it yesterday, getting a little bit of a bounce. 351.81 pivot, levels able to hold. You got room to go back towards 357.48, in my opinion, to 365.58. Unable to hold 347.06, 342, 342.10. I'm leaning bullish neutral. I'm looking for a hold of that pivot point for a curl back to the upside today. So we'll see what happens in that regard. It actually looks pretty decent, in my opinion, from a hourly and daily standpoint for the start of a flag to form. Holding that pivot will be your confirmation on that name, in my opinion. All right, let's take a look at Meta. Let me get that high here. 147.52 pivot, levels able to hold 150.06 to 154.45. Unable to hold 144.66 to 142.37 on the downside. Leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a reclaim of that pivot and a push higher. A little bit of a gap down on those snap earnings and sympathy. I don't think it really matters. So I think it could be able to get a little bit of a pushback this morning. And then we can see what happens after that. All right, let's take a look at Google. All right, Google guys, we got B. And it's funny because last time Google actually moved a lot more on snap earnings than Meta. 98.47 pivot, level holds 143, 101.91. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 96.62 to 95.27 downside. I'm leaning bullish on this name. As long as that pivot is able to be reclaimed this morning, I think we can get a little bit of a push, in my opinion, there. That's Google. Let's take a look at VIX Qs IWM. $19.30 pivot, level holds 2017. 21.17, unable to hold 18.62 on the downside. Overall on VIX, not leaning any particular direction, but looking for direction on the markets. Let's take a look at the Qs. $294.84 pivot, levels able to hold 298.45, 304.10, unable to hold. We look for a pullback to towards 288.19 on the downside. Same with the market, guys. Same with the SPY, I guess. Leaning bullish neutral if the pivot point can be reclaimed today. In my opinion, looks pretty decent. And then last but not least, guys, let's take a look at the SPX. 464 pivot today. Levels able to hold to get room towards 4,064 pivot. Level holds 4,099. Unable to hold 40.27. 39.96 right now, leaning bullish, neutral only if that pivot can stay intact, just like I am on the SPY and the Qs. So that's a SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pass over to South Beach while I type up that pre-market action plan. Then we'll do a quick photo recap for the open. South Beach, if you're ready, she's all yours for now, my friend.
Hey guys, good morning. Okay. Let's see what we got today. Hump day, right? Okay, what's the most important thing of the day? I think probably Tom Brady's retiring for good. It's been a joy to watch that guy all these years, even though he was the nemesis to the Jets. But moving on to the real stuff. Let's see, we got the bonds. The bonds are flipping the bird to Powell. I mean, it's really kind of laughable when you see it, because even today, okay, he's gonna, based on what the market's done, he's got to be like fucking drooling, okay, wanting the market to like, this wealth creation that's going on is the antithesis of what he wants, okay. And on Fed Day, they just flip him the bird and say, we don't give a shit what you think, we're taking the bonds even lower. So the 10-year is 346 down 0.07. And they don't give a shit what he says, okay? And the inversion is what, 54, 64, 71. So effectively what the bond market's saying is we think you're gonna, not only you're not gonna raise rates, my friend, but you're gonna lower rates probably in the back half of the year. I mean, that's what they're saying, okay? And I'll go with the bond market over this guy any day of the week. So that's the plan there. You look overseas, more of the same. Bond market's down in London, only barely. The inversion is, their Fed has spoken more hawkishly, not London, but I'll talk about the UK, EU in a minute. They have a small inversion, nothing major there, no real change. Rates are flat in Germany based on what they were saying. So, you know, the most I get out of this, I don't think rates are going to change a whole lot, but what may happen is the euro continues to get stronger. That's the way I think it will play out, and we'll see. I mean, the dollar's strength, considering how much money they're printing in comparison to others, seems to me to be, you know, this flight to quality will end, and the dollar, I think, will have a pretty rough go at it, but we'll see, okay? So that's the bond market, all right? Let's look at commodities this morning. We have oil almost, what, dead flat? Yeah, dead flat. Natural gas down again, 264. Every time I look at it, I shake my head. But what I'm going to do, guys, is instead of trying to pick the bottom, I want to see natural gas trade above 3, and then I'll play the UNGs, because what I find is every day you come in and they act like shit, and they, you know, you get pennied to death, and I hate to watch that. So let me try to get the momentum in my favor, and I'll tack it that way. That's how I'm going to go about it. And that's that. Gold flat, silver nothing, copper trading range, upper end of trading range. I think that has more to do with China than anything else. Wheat, you know, it's like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ukraine is it's the second biggest supplier of wheat in the world, and it's at lows. So even with the war and all the stuff, that's what you got. Other commodities, lumber's bounced off that 400 level to 524, but by and large, everything's in a tightish trading range, which is really good for corporate America. Currency-wise, dollars mixed against North America, down against the yen, down against the Chinese currency, 673. Euros up also, dollars down there, and the pound is up a little bit. I think that will continue. Crypto, dead flat. I mean, like dead flat. Bitcoin, $13 on a $23,000 thing. Ethereum's dead flat. Solana is down 50 cents, which is 2%. So that's that. And looking at the foreign markets, what do we have? FTSE's pretty flat, up 0.2. DAX is up 0.5%. Over in Asia, we had the Hong Kong up at 1%, China up 1%, and I don't know why Nikkei is not populating. There it is, flat. Okay, so that's the backdrop. All right, so we have the banks and the Fed today. All right, let's talk about that for a minute. He is going to raise a quarter of a point. We had a couple of ex-Fed governors saying they always use a mouthpiece from the Wall Street Journal, that this is no different. They told the guy it's going to be 25 basis point rise. Right now, the betting is 98% are looking for 25 basis points. 2% is looking for 50. I think the odds of 50 are, you never say nothing, but it's really, really low. If we saw 50, the market would probably get hit, but he may say this is it for a bit and then it would turn around. Who knows? Okay, we'll see how it goes. All I know is this: every time, not every time, there's no sure thing in this game, but mostly the first move is the wrong move. So let it happen, watch, fold your hands, and let's see what the second move brings. Okay, that's been the pattern for as long as I can remember. Since God was a little boy, that's always been the pattern. When the Fed is in the hot seat, like it is now, okay, first move, wrong move. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, 2 o'clock will be the news, and then he'll have a Q&A after that, and that'll kind of determine what's what. My guess is he's on the hawkish side. All right, he'll probably say the terminal rate is still 5 to 5.25, and so on and so forth, and he'll looking to raise and see what, then he'll say we are also data dependent, that whole jig he does every Fed day. Okay, but I think he'll be leading bearish, especially because the market's had such a big bounce, and the bond market has really flipped in the bird, and he doesn't like that one bit, I bet. And now you haven't had Fed governors speak for a bit. Starting today after Powell, the next few days, they're going to be out in force. 4 or 5 of them will speak every day, trying to jawbone this market down. Okay, that's going to be what's going to happen. Okay, as far as China, I didn't really see any news there to speak of. The only thing that I thought was interesting is that BlackRock has a 13G in Baidu, but BlackRock is, I'm not sure it's just BlackRock. Like, they have some other people who do business through them, but by and large, they have a big position. Stock's up $10. That's at the end of the day. That's what happened with China. I don't see anything else that's interesting. All right. As far as Russia, very quiet there. This war continues. Their prowess as far as oil and gas and whatnot has, definitely diminished. Their, the price of wheat and whatnot. It's an ugly situation, and it doesn't look like it's coming to an end anytime soon. I think the powers that be enjoy, not enjoy, but are content watching this unfold for the moment. Okay. So that's that. Oil market we discussed, crypto we discussed. Mr. Market, so yesterday played out kind of like I thought it would. I was verbal about it. I told you that, I thought that as the market trended up, that there's a really good chance there's a big buy program at the end of the day. I thought the market would close in the highs, and it was, it was reading to me like there was a lot to do on the close. And kind of that's what happened. No surprise there. Now today, and yesterday especially, but also today you have these big ESOPs, okay, employee stock option plans. So, the companies are buying stock for their employees. I think yesterday was the bulk of it, but you may see some remnants of that today. On a side note, okay, as far as Mr. Market's concerned, when you see these dog shit companies like MSGM or whatever, is going on, or, you see them running today. There's a bunch of them. I can list them off for you if you want, but you know what they are, trading 8,000%. That's usually the end of a rally. Okay. It's very consistent that when you see crappy companies and excessive speculation in true dog shit, okay, that marks the end of the move. So be a little careful with that, okay? So I'm thinking that these moves that we're seeing are a signal that maybe the market's overbought, running out of gas, and it's going to, have a little bit of the market will come in for whatever amount of time, until this froth disappears and some of these guys get hurt. Okay, but that's very common. But yesterday you had that big move. The transports really had a good day, up 491 points, which is what, almost 4%. That's a giant move there. Dow was up, SPYs, etc. Every group was fine. The best ones were the banks and high PE tech and semis. Retail was also good. Drugs were good, so on and so forth. Okay, nothing was terrible. All right. What else happened today? So you have Amazon and Meta. And I hear these guys, I read research and whatnot and saying, I like Meta, I like Amazon, I don't understand. But just look at take a minute and look at a PE ratio. If you look at the PE ratio on Meta, it's only 14. Okay, it's 14. The PE ratio on Amazon is 95. No wonder Amazon's not going up and Meta is. Snap, they've never made money. Complete piece of shit. Complete piece of shit. Since the day it's been in business, it hasn't made a freaking nickel. So take a gander at these things once in a while and see, maybe this is the reason the stock doesn't act well. Okay, 95 PE versus a 14 PE. Big difference, right? All right, so this gal who's been really right, Katie Stockton was on this morning. She sees resistance at 40.50, so it's through, but she wants to see it get through a little bit more on a little bit more gusto. She's not totally convinced that the downtrend is over. She thinks the market's overbought. She sees support at 38.80. And she had her main indicators that she uses not only on that breakout level haven't turned yet. So she's kind of sort of on the fence, which is more bullish than she's been. But let's keep in mind the girl's been right. Okay. So Michael Burry tweeted one word, sell. And then he said something about this market reminds him of 2008, like watching the plane crash. I don't know what to make of that, but you know what? We trade what we see. So we're not making these huge, time bets. And as long as we have volatility, guys, we should do well. Okay. The Tom Brady thing I told you, mortgage demand fell another 9%, and that's in light of rates coming in. Google is telling their employees to look for different AI stuff. They found one thing that they apprentice Bard, but I think that's going to be the new watchword. Every couple of years, we have something, and sometimes it's internet, and sometimes it was once internet, and I think now it's just AI. If a company says something and it has AI in it, I think investors are going to bid it up. KPMG thinks home prices could come in 20% this year. I think that's really I haven't seen many people say that. That's very one-off kind of comment. Intel is telling their executives is taking a 25% pay cut to preserve capital, which is kind of laughable considering what it costs to build a semiconductor plant. I think the problem with semiconductors, guys, except for the really high end, is the governments are getting involved in the name of defense, that they have to have manufacturing, and they're just going to be an oversupply. So unless you have high end chips like NVIDIA or maybe even AMD, I think it could be problematic. Let's see what else we have. Nikki Haley's running for president, so we'll see. We'll hear a lot from her. Perella banker, who's been accused of insider trading, had allegations, committed suicide. So I guess probably true. ADP number came in. 106K versus 178, and annual pay, which I'm more interested in, was up 7.3%. And now let's look at individual stocks. Okay. On the long side, we had AMD. Okay, is that still up, right? Yeah, AMD, Peloton was good. UDFL, OI was very good. ATKR, DT, Slab, Stryker, TGI, Mondelez, and E. You had these momentum stocks, MSGM up like ridiculous, MGAM, VS. This EBET is another one. And if you read the description, you know, video games for sports or arcade type games for sports, which is what MSGM had. So typical meme culture, right? RNAZ had preclinical results. I think that's even before phase 1, so I don't pay much attention to that. AMLI had a positive data on a lithium mine. Blink is using that same strategy we've been seeing about investigating naked short selling. But in this case, there's a 30% short interest. So this one may move on that one, okay? Blink. XM, Silver Lake is trying to put them in play. They filed a 13D amendment. LI had some positive data there on deliveries. Rig got a big contract, and Baidu, I told you about. Okay, on the short side, we had Snap, which is a piece of garbage. EA, Match.com, SYF, WRK, WM, Western Digital was kind of crummy, and now it's flat. I guess, you know, what's his name has that big position, right? Elliott. Temis, which misses, and you rarely, if ever, see that, and Juniper as well. Tasha had bad news on an update, PR. Western Dig is doing a $90 million convert to Apollo. I'm sure that's getting Elliott pissed off because that dilutes their stake. Splunk is selling, reducing their workforce by 4%. EVLO had negative clinical data. In sympathy with Snap, a couple of stocks are down. Pinterest is down a little bit. The Trade Desk is down a little bit. Meta, which I think has nothing to do with this stock, is down a little bit. Bumble is down with Match.com. What else? Any research? You know, these guys are knuckleheads, but sometimes they say something. NFE, initiate buy, target 67, stocks 38 at Bank America. Morgan Stanley likes this RCKT, outperform target 45, stocks 21. They also like Amazon, target 140. Pfizer, they reduced the target at Barclays down to where it's selling at 44. Amgen, they reiterate the sell there. AMD was downgraded by some joker called Craig Hallam. Don't care what they think, but I'm just telling you. Foot Locker was upgraded. You know I like this one, right? Take the target to 62 with at Credit Suisse. Mondelez had decent numbers. A couple of guys raising their targets there. And the main thing, guys, is to, you know, listen, get flat prior to the Fed, okay? And then we'll see what's happening. That's where the, you know, the fireworks are going to happen. And, you know, don't get caught off guard by having these positions that you're going to have to react to, okay? It's going to be, you know, you don't want to have a diversion when you're trying to trade something that can move a lot. You know, you don't want to worry about a 500 share position in some innocuous name. So try to get as flat as you can by 2 o'clock, and you know you should have a you know we'll trade what we see, okay? And as far, you know, there's a bunch of numbers coming out tonight, big guys like have been coming all week. What's today? Thursday, Wednesday night. What do we got? We got Meta tonight. Okay, that'll be interesting. We got ALGN, which I've been trading. Met Life tomorrow. We have a bunch. Lilly, Merck, Cop, Estee Lauder, Bristol Myers, Honeywell, you know, a lot of good names. So a lot to do, a lot of stuff, you know, trade within yourself, and that's it, okay? Let's have a good day, guys. Spartan is all yours.
All righty, thank you, South Beach guys. Morning, what's going on? What's up? So if you guys are new to chat and you're done, so make sure to click on the Discord link that's emailed to you. You're gonna pop in a chat. It's gonna look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in. Click on that disclaimer section, give it a read, as well as go to that new chat information section and scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, see a link to the disclaimer as well as this boulder risk-reward section. Super important to understand both, in my opinion. Risk-reward is one of the most important ratios in trading, so I definitely would check that out. Continue to scroll down. You have summary of how this chat works, breaks down all these channels work on the left-hand side, so you can properly navigate your chat throughout the day. Continue to scroll down. We have the how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Below this, options rules that we use Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling and scaling out, trading different price contracts, et cetera, et cetera. This is the rules that I like to use for myself. If you're curious on them, there they are. SPX rules as well, right below that. Continue to scroll down. You have the any of the small account less than 10K, breaking down if you do a small account less than 10K, here's some rules, information, discipline that I like to put in place when I do try to grow smaller accounts. It may help you. And then how to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective below that. Let's take a look at what we got going on today, guys. Pre-market tickers on watch. You guys are watching the YouTube stream, you can simply just pause it and read the descriptions here. And this is the, my thoughts, etc., my opinions on the charts that I went through this morning. All right, that's all that. You can see all the charts that are posted here as well. And then on the options side, we have the options table. And that should be good for you. All right, pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today? A couple of things: Tesla, Baidu, EA, Match, MSGM, and EdBull, EDBL. Tesla gapping up continuation with the market. Baidu, BlackRock increased passive stake to 6.6% from 3.5, gapping up. EA gapping down on earnings and lowered guidance. Match Group misses by 33 cents in the EPS. Reports revs in line, guides Q1 revs below consensus, guides fiscal 2023 revs in line, gapping down. MSGM gapping up in continuation from last day's move. EdBull gapping up in sympathy with the MSGM. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two we're going to be looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla, going to be that Baidu. So let's have a look. All right, so Tesla, Baidu, Tesla, guys. Whoops, accidentally. There you go. Okay, Tesla 170.64 pivots to the upside today, in my opinion. Level holds 174.84. The level breaks 180.24, 186.23. Unable to hold 163.28 to 156.55, in my opinion, on the downside. Overall, I'm going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point is able to hold. Baidu pivot upside today, in my opinion, is going to be the 144.98. Level holds 146.89, 148.80. Unable to hold 142.45, 138.88 on the downside. Leaning bullish neutral, in my opinion, on Baidu, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point's able to stay intact as well. Let's take a look at EA. Let's take a look at Match. EA 116.21 pivot downside, level holds. Room towards 119.43 to 122.19, in my opinion. Unable to hold 113.99 to 169 on the downside. Overall on EA, going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side today if that pivot's unable to hold, in my opinion. Match pivot upside today is going to be 49.53, level holds 51.68, 54.24, unable to hold 47.18, 44.79 downside, meaning bearish neutral on that name, looking for continuation lower if the pivot point is unable to hold as well. So that is that. Let's take a look at the next two, guys, which is going to be that EDBL and MSGM. Again, these are just my opinions, of course, my friends. MSGM 69.02 pivot, levels unable to hold, reward 60.58, 52.02. That level breaks 39.65, able to hold 78.65, 90.30 on the upside, leading on the bearish neutral side of MSGM if that pivot's bullish. Yeah, leaning bearish if that pivot point's unable to hold. I think we start to come in a little bit. It's kind of a blow off, right? EDBL 15.04 pivot, level hold 17.10. That level breaks 1994 will be tested, unable to hold 1278, 1030, meaning bullish neutral only if pivot can be reclaimed there. Let's take a look at the spine of the FANG. All right, market. I'm going to type this up in the SPX section as I do. So SPY. Let's just zoom out a little bit. I'm actually going to save this. Save me a lot of time. All right, there we go. 405.62 pivot to the upside today. Sorry, guys. All right, so 405.62 pivots to the upside today. In my opinion, this level holds room higher into the 407. 59 resistance breaks. We see the 410 95 tested. Pivot unable to hold. From lower. Into the 403 16 support breaks. We see the 466 tested. I'm leaning bullish control. If pivot can be reclaimed before FOMC. And I'm basically looking for a bullish move into the FOMC, and then whatever happens on FOMC happens on FOMC. I don't really care, or just trade whatever direction the market tells us to trade. That's what I'm looking at the moment. Okay, so that's that. Let's take a look at this rest of the spine thing. Rest of the thing, I should say. Apple 144.48 pivot level holds 146.47, 147.37. Unable to hold 142.46, 141.10 on the downside. They need bullish control there, in my opinion. Amazon pivots to the upside today. 104.21 pivots to the upside today. That level holds 108.49, 110.76. Unable to hold 194 to 97.03. Needing bullish control on Amazon, in my opinion, only if we can get back above that pivot as well. Netflix holding the pivot level, and that level right now for me is going to be 351.81. That level holds 357.48, 365.58. Unable to hold 347.06, 342.10. I'm leaning bullish control there on that name, in my opinion, as well. Let's take a look at Meta. Meta pivot upside today is going to be 147.52 level holds, 150.06, 154.45 in my opinion. Unable to hold 144.66 to 142.37 on the downside. Leaning bullish control on that name, looking for a continuation push to the upside today, if that pivot point can hold as well. Let's take a look at the Google. Google pivot to the upside today, in my opinion, is going to be 98.47 level holds, 143, 101.91. Unable to hold 96.62, 95.27. And the bullish control on that if pivot can stay intact as well. Last but not least, guys, big skews IWM. DIX pivot to the upside today. 1930 level holds 2017, 2117. Unable to hold 1862. Not leaning any particular direction on this, but using it for direction on the market, of course, as you do. QQQs pivot to the upside today on this. 294.84 level holds. 298.45, 304.10, unable to hold 288.19, leading bullish control on that if pivot can stay intact, just like the SPY and last but not least SPX, guys. Uh, 464.85 level holds 4099, unable to hold 4027, 3996, any bullish control on that if the pivot can stay intact as well. So that's the SPY as a thing. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. If you joined us on the YouTube stream this morning, thanks for popping in. We're going to close that down. We do that every single Wednesday.